Hello everyone, myself Mageshwari from Department of Biology. Today we are going to discuss about the unit number 15. Under that the two important topics, they are one is human health and disease, another one is biomolecules. So under this we are going to discuss about the first topic, that is regarding human health and disease. I am going to discuss about the question number 1, that is read the following statements about health and select the incorrect one. Going for the first option, that is immune system maintains our health, and the second option, health is defined as a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. And the third option is health increases productivity and economic prosperity. Whereas the fourth option is health increases infant and maternal mortality. Whereas here we have to identify in the question the select incorrect one, that is the statement what we have to stress while identifying about the answers. So here we can see that the first, second and third option, which is a correct statement related to the health, whereas the fourth option, which is defined as the health increases infant and the maternal mortality, which is wrong actually, because which will not increase, which will decrease. As a result, we can see that for the question number 1, the option 4 is the right answer. I am going to discuss about the question number 2. Which of the following statements regarding the disease typhoid is or are correct? And see the first option, that is Salmonella typhi are the pathogenic bacteria which enter human intestine through contaminated food and water and migrate to other organs through blood. And the second option, sustained high fever, that is about 39 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius, and weakness, and next is the stomach pain, constipation, headache and the loss of appetite are some symptoms of typhoid. And the third option is typhoid vaccine is available as DPT vaccine. And the fourth one, viral test used for diagnosis of typhoid fever. And the fifth one is the patient of this disease is not required to be treated with antibiotics. So here the question is, we have to identify which statements are correct related to the disease typhoid. We know that typhoid is one of the bacterial disease which is caused by the bacteria that is called as Salmonella typhi, and which can be identified by the test which is known as a viral test, and also it used to cause some of the symptoms like the sustained high fever, or if you consider about stomach pain, or we can see that loss of appetite or headache. These are some of the symptoms of this disease that is called as typhoid. And also we know that to treat this typhoid disease, the DPT vaccine which is not used, whereas to treat diphtheria, pertussis or tetanus, this DPT vaccine which is commonly used. And we can see that antibiotics is one of the treatment measure which is given to this disease that is called as typhoid. Hence, after going through all this option, we can see that the first statement which is said about this Salmonella typhi is related to the disease, whereas the second statement, if you consider about the symptoms of the typhoid, which is related, whereas the third one, which is said that typhoid vaccine is available as a DPT vaccine, because it is wrong to treat typhoid, DPT vaccine is not used. Whereas the fourth one, viral test which is used to diagnose typhoid, that is true. And the fifth one, that is the patient of this disease which is not treated with the antibiotic treatment, it is completely wrong. Hence we can see that the option third, which is related to the question, hence for this question number second, option is 3. Next, question number 3. Common cold differs from pneumonia as. The first option, pneumonia is caused by virus, whereas common cold is caused by bacterium. And the second one, pneumonia pathogen which infects the alveoli, whereas common cold affects nose, and respiratory passage but not the lungs. And the third option, pneumonia is non-communicable disease. And the fourth one, whereas if you consider about the fourth option here is none of this. We can see that the question is to differentiate common cold as well as pneumonia. We know that common cold, which is caused by a virus called rhinovirus, which used to infect the upper respiratory passage, whereas pneumonia, which is caused by the bacteria, where you can see that which used to infect the lower respiratory tract, that is alveolar region. Based on that knowledge, we have to now differentiate. Here we can see that the first option, they said that pneumonia is caused by virus, whereas common cold is caused by bacterium. It is wrong because common cold is caused by virus. And the second one, pneumonia is the pathogen which used to infect the alveoli, that is lower respiratory tract, whereas the common cold is a disease which used to infect the upper respiratory tract. So hence it is true. And the third one, pneumonia is a non-communicable disease, but it is wrong because pneumonia is one of the communicable disease. So through sputum of the person, there is a chances of communicable of this particular disease. And the fourth one, there is none of this. Whereas here, to identify the difference between the common cold as well as the pneumonia disease, the right option is the second one. I am going to discuss about the next question, that is question number 4. Read the following statement and select the correct option. The statement 1 is malarial parasite requires two hosts, that is human and mosquitoes, to complete the life cycle. And the second option is Haemozoin is a toxic substance which is produced by rupturing of the liver cells during malarial infection. Here we can see that whenever this malarial infection gets spread to a population where it requires to complete the life cycle by the pathogen to host. So that is human as well as a mosquito. And we can see that whenever there is this infection gets spread to the host body, here it infects the liver cells, and after rupturing the liver cell, it attacks the RBC. After rupturing the RBC, it used to release a chemical called Haemozoin, which used to cause chillness as well as fever. And hence we can see that the first statement which is given is right, whereas the second statement which is wrong. Here we have to underline the word, that is liver cells, where Haemozoin is a toxic substance produced by the rupturing of RBC, not a liver cell. Hence the correct answer for this question is the statement 1 is correct, but the statement 2 is incorrect. So option second is the right answer. We are going to discuss about the next question number 5. Which one of the following sets include the bacterial diseases? The first option is tetanus, tuberculosis, measles, whereas the second option is diphtheria, leprosy as well as plague, and the third option is cholera as well as typhoid and mumps, and the fourth option is malaria, mumps as well as poliomyelitis. Here we can see that the first option whatever given, that is tetanus, tuberculosis and measles, out of which tetanus is a bacterial disease, tuberculosis also a bacterial disease, measles are viral disease. The second option, diphtheria, bacterial disease, leprosy is a bacterial disease, even plague is a bacterial disease. Go for the third option, that is cholera is a bacterial disease, typhoid bacterial disease, mumps is a viral disease. And the fourth one, malaria, protozoal disease, mumps is a viral disease, poliomyelitis is a viral disease. So here we can see that the question is to identify the 3 sets of disease which is caused by bacteria. Hence we can see that the second option is right, because here diphtheria which is caused by Corynebacterium diphtheriae, whereas leprosy which is caused by Mycobacterium leprae, and plague which is also called as black death in European countries, and here the plague disease which is caused by Yersinia pestis, that is the name of the bacteria. Hence we can see that for this question number 5, the right answer is the second option. I am going to discuss about the question number 6. The pathogen Microsporum responsible for ringworm as a disease in human belongs to same kingdom as that of. The first one, that is Tinea, a tapeworm, and the second option Ascaris, a roundworm, and the third one Rhizopus, a mold, and fourth one Wuchereria, a filarial worm. So here we have to consider about the microsporum species, and we have to classify a particular right kingdom in that. So we know that if you consider about the first option Tinea. So Tinea is a worm which come under the Platyhelminthes phylum, whereas if you consider about which is commonly called as a tapeworm, and the next one is Ascaris. Ascaris come under phylum Aschelminthes, and which used to we used to classify it as a roundworm commonly. And the next one Rhizopus, microsporum, which is related to this Rhizopus, which is belongs to mold family. Whereas the next one is the Wuchereria. Again, this Wuchereria or filarial worm come under the phylum, that is Aschelminthes itself. Hence, the question is the microsporum responsible for the disease which is called as a ringworm in human belongs to same kingdom. So here the same kingdom as that of this Rhizopus and mold, which is the right answer for that of the question, sixth one. So question number 6 answer is the third option. Going to discuss about the next question, that is question number 7. Which of the following statements is incorrect? The first one, pneumonia can be transmitted to a healthy person by inhaling the droplets released by an infected person and also by sharing utensils. The second option, pathogens causing pneumonia are Streptococcus pneumonia and Haemophilus influenza. And the third option, in case of snake bite, the injections which was given to the patient contain preformed antibodies against snake venom is belonging to passive immunization, and the fourth one is none of this. When we consider about the statement whatever given in the question number 7, where we have to identify the incorrect one, so stress the word incorrect before and going for these options, and see the first option which has said that pneumonia can be transmitted to a healthy person by inhaling the droplets. That is true, and even by sharing the utensils used by that person, because it is a communicable disease. Whereas the second one, the pathogen which is causing this pneumonia are Streptococcus as well as the one more Haemophilus influenza species. That is also true. Going for the third one, in case of snake bite, to the person whenever the injection is given, that is a ready-made antibody which is prepared to cure the toxic effect of the snake bite. So here the ready-made antibody or preformed antibody whatever given, which is the type of passive immunization method, and hence the third option also true. Hence the fourth one is the right answer for the question to identify the incorrect statement. Here all three statements are right, hence the answer for this question is the fourth option. We will discuss about the question number 8. Study carefully the following stages of the life cycle of the malarial parasite, that is Plasmodium species, and arrange these stages in a sequence, in a correct order. So where we have to select the correct options. Whereas the first option which is given, sporozoid leave the bloodstream and enter the liver cells of man. Whereas the second one, that is the sporozoid present in the salivary gland of the mosquito, that is Anopheles mosquito, are injected into the bloodstream of man. Whereas the third option is the parasite produces asexually in the RBC, whereas resulting in busting of RBC and causing the cycles of fever, released parasite now infect new RBCs. The parasite reproduces asexually in liver cells, ultimately causing the rupturing of the cells. Whereas the next option, that is fifth option, there is a production of two types of gametocytes, that is called as microgametocyte as well as macrogametocytes, that develop in the RBCs of the infected person. Going to the next option, that is sixth option, the female Anopheles mosquito, which is a vector for the particular disease causing organism that is called as Plasmodium species, and when it comes and takes the gametocytes with the blood as a meal from the infected person. Next option is the mature infective stage of the parasite, that is sporozoid, escape from the intestine of this mosquito and migrate to the salivary glands. And the next one is fertilization and the developmental stages of the parasite take place in mosquito's stomach. Here the question is the life cycle of this malarial parasite, whatever happens as a human body as well as in a mosquito body, that should be arranged in a order. So we know that whenever this malarial parasite enters into the body of the healthy person, whenever this mosquito comes and sucks the blood from the body of the healthy person, these malaria parasites are injected into the bloodstream. In the bloodstream, these parasites travel and they come and attack the region of liver. In the liver, there is a process of asexual reproduction. As a result, numerous sporozoids will be produced. Here we can see that the sporozoids are one of the infective stages of this malarial parasite. These sporozoids will divide asexually in the liver, and the liver cells are damaged, and finally the liver cells will burst, and after that this particular sporozoids are released into a RBC. Initially in the RBC they undergo asexual reproduction, and after damaging the RBCs it will attack a new RBC where there is a process of sexual reproduction by the production of the two types of gametocytes, which is called as microgametocytes as well as macrogametocytes. This gametocyte stage, whatever we can see in a host body during that stage, this mosquito will suck blood from the host body. Hence, these gametocytes now enter into the body of the mosquito, where there is a further fusion of the gametocytes takes place, resulting a production of the sporozoids, and these sporozoids remain in the body of the mosquito. It is travel in the alimentary canal and occupy the region of the salivary gland, and from the salivary gland, whenever this particular mosquito goes and attacks another healthy person, where there is a release of the sporozoids takes place, and these sporozoids are called as infective stage of this malarial parasite. So this is what the life cycle of this malarial parasite called as Plasmodium vivax or Plasmodium species. Hence, the answer for the question number 8 is the first option. So, we are going to discuss about the next question, that is question number 9. Read the following statement and select the correct option. Under that, the first option, statement 1, that is many fungi belonging to genera Microsporum, Trichophyton and Epidermophyton are responsible for the disease ringworm, whereas the statement 2, a ringworm infection is generally acquired from soil or by using towels, clothes, comb, etc. of infected individuals. So, here this particular question is related to the ringworm infection, which is caused by one of the fungal species, which is called as Microsporum species or Trichophyton rubrum or Epidermophyton, whereas the statement 1, which is many fungi belonging to the genera Microsporum, that is Trichophyton and Epidermophyton, are responsible for the disease ringworm, that is true. And the second one, the statement 2, ringworm infection is generally acquired from soil, and this particular disease used to spread from one person to another because it is one of the infectious disease, and it gets spread whenever the person, whatever things used by like towels, clothes, comb, etc. Used by the normal person, it gets spread. So, hence the answer for this particular question 9 is both the statement 1 and 2 are correct. It's about the 10th question, that is which one of the following pairs of disease is viral as well as transmitted by mosquitoes. So, here the diseases, a pair of diseases if you consider, should be the disease which is spread by virus and also it should be transmitted by the mosquitoes. Well, see the first option, that is encephalitis and sleeping sickness. If you consider about this encephalitis, that is Japanese encephalitis also called, and the sleeping sickness, which is caused mainly by the protozoans, whereas the next one, yellow fever and sleeping sickness. This yellow fever is a viral disease, whereas sleeping sickness is a protozoal disease. And the third one, that is elephantiasis and dengue. Elephantiasis is one of the filarial disease, whereas dengue is a viral disease. Whereas the fourth option, yellow fever and dengue. So here we can see that both the diseases are caused by the virus, and also here the vector is a mosquito. So hence we can see that the yellow fever, if you consider, where generally this particular disease which is caused by a flavivirus, whereas dengue caused by a dengue virus, and both the cases where you can see that mosquito is the vector, and hence here the answer for this particular question, that is pairs of disease should be viral, and also here the mosquito should be a vector. Hence we can see that the correct option is the fourth one. We will discuss about the next question, that is question number 11. During the life cycle of Plasmodium, a sexual reproduction takes place in which of the following host? So the first option is a human, second one female Anopheles mosquito, third one male Anopheles mosquito, fourth one both 1 and 2. In the previous question already regarding this we have discussed, that is during a life cycle of this Plasmodium species it requires two hosts, that is human as well as mosquito, whereas the sexual reproduction, that is where the fusion of gamete like micro as well as macro gametocyte that takes place in the body of the mosquito. Hence we can see that the answer for this question is the second option, female Anopheles mosquito. Going to discuss about next question, that is 12th one. Which lymphoid organs provide a microenvironment for the development and maturation of T lymphocytes? So here the first option is the bone marrow, second option is thymus, and the third option is the spleen, and fourth option is both 1 and 2. So here the question is, which lymphoid organ provide microenvironment for the development of the T lymphocytes? We know that if you consider about the lymphoid system, whatever we have in the body, which is divided into primary lymphoid organs and secondary lymphoid organs. So under that, the primary lymphoid organs are bone marrow and thymus, whereas secondary, if you classify, there are different examples like a spleen or tonsils, or if you consider about malt or galt, other different examples what we can give. Whereas here the question is where there is a proper environment for the development as well as the production of T lymphocytes they asked. So we know that the bone marrow and thymus are the primary lymphoid organ where there is the production or proliferation or maturation of this particular T lymphocytes takes place. Hence the correct option for the question number 12 is fourth option. I am going to discuss about the next question, that is cocaine produces, the first option, sense of euphoria, a second option, increased energy, and the third option, slows down the body functions, and fourth option is both 1 and 2. So if you consider about this, cocaine is one of a drug, so which is extracted from the cocoa plant. So where we can see that it used to produce a sense of euphoria, that is feeling excited or feeling happiness after taking this drug, that is the meaning of euphoria. Whereas increased energy, the person used to feel like after taking this drug had got extra energy, that is what increased energy. A third option is slows down the body functions. So it is not slowing down the body function because it is not a depressant drug, it is excitatory in function. Hence it stimulates the body function or increases the body function. Hence the correct option for this particular question is the fourth option, that is both 1 and 2. So going to discuss about the next question, that is question number 14. An intestinal parasite which causes blockage of the intestinal passage and whose eggs are excreted with the feces of infected person is. So, the option 1, that is Wuchereria bancrofti or filarial worm, that is option 2 Ascaris, option 3 Epidermophyton, option 4 Microsporum. So, here along with the excretory matter, the eggs of Ascaris are released into the water bodies. So, hence we can see that the correct answer for this particular question, that is 14th answer is second option. The next question is question number 15. Match the column 1 with column 2. Under column 1, there are different options like A. Leishmania donovani and B. Wuchereria bancrofti and C, that is Trypanosoma gambians, whereas D is Entamoeba histolytica. Under column 2, malaria, amoebiasis, Kala-Azar, sleeping sickness and filariasis. So, here the first one, that is A. Leishmania donovani, generally which causes Kala-Azar. So, hence we can match Leishmania donovani into Kala-Azar, that is third. Whereas the next one, Wuchereria bancrofti, which causes filariasis, that is the fifth one. And next to Trypanosoma gambians, which is called Gambian fever. For that, correct answer is sleeping sickness, fourth option. And the next one, Entamoeba histolytica. Entamoeba histolytica causes amoebiasis, that is second option. So, now the correct answer for this question 15 is the third option. Question number 16. Which of the following statement regarding the different barriers of innate immunity is not correct? The first option under that, acid present in the stomach, saliva in the mouth, tears from the eye. Next is prevent the growth of microorganisms and constitute the physiological barriers of our body. Whereas the second one, there is mucous membrane lining the respiratory or GI tract and urinogenital tracts help in trapping the microbes and constitute the physiological barriers of our body. Certain types of leukocytes such as PMNL, that is polymorphonuclear leukocytes, and lymphocytes such as NK cells, that is natural killer cells, constitute cellular barriers of our body. Virus infected cells secrete proteins called interferons, which protect non-infected cells from further viral infection and constitute cytokine barriers of body. So, here if you consider about the innate immunity, we can see that which is also called non-specific immunity. It used to function based on the 4 different types of barriers. They are, first one is called physical barriers, second one is called physiological barrier, third one is called as cellular barrier, fourth one is called cytokine barrier. The first one, if you consider about the physical barrier, where we can give the example of the skin is the first line of defense and physical barrier, and also if you consider about the mucous membrane, whatever we can see in the urinogenital region or in the region of GI tract, which also acts like a physical barrier. Whereas the second one, physiological barrier. Physiological barrier means certain secretions of our body. We can consider about the secretions of the salivary gland or the secretions of the stomach, that is HCl. So, these all acts like the physiological barriers. Third one is the cellular barrier. For cellular barriers, we can give the example of the different types of WBCs or leukocytes. Along with that, we can give the example of the macrophages, NK cells or PMNL. It's the type of neutrophil that is called polymorphonuclear leukocytes, and these are cellular barriers. The fourth one is the cytokine barrier. Cytokine barrier means the viral infected cells used to produce a protein which is called as the interferon. So, which used to protect the other normal cells from further viral infection. So, hence all these 4 are the barriers of the innate immunity. So, here the question is to identify which one is not correct, and the first statement which was correct, the physiological barriers are the secretions, whereas the second option, that is physical barrier, it is not a physiological barrier. So, see this word, it should be a physical barrier. And the next one is regarding certain types of leukocytes such as PMNL, etc., are the cellular barriers, it's true. And the fourth one, virus infected cells used to secrete interferons to protect the other normal cells from further viral infections. So, and we can see that except the second option, all first three and fourth options were correct. So, incorrect one is second one, hence the answer is second for this question number 16. We will discuss about the question number 17, that is match the column. So, here under column 1 they have given the name of the different disease, and on the column 2 the causative agent for this particular disease as well as some vectors as well as vaccine names were given. We will identify the correct option. So, first one under column 1 amoebiasis, and B is diphtheria, and the C is cholera, and D is syphilis. Whereas under column 2, first one is Treponema pallidum, housefly as a mechanical carriers, whereas the DPT vaccines the third one, and fourth one is oral rehydration therapy. So, here of the first one, that is amoebiasis. We know that amoebiasis is one of the disease which is caused by Entamoeba histolytica, and this Entamoeba histolytica used to travel through a vector that is called as a housefly, Musca domestica. So, hence for amoebiasis the option is housefly, whereas the second one diphtheria. Diphtheria, to treat that the DPT vaccine which was used, whereas the third one is cholera. Cholera, we know that one of the bacterial disease where the oral rehydration therapy which is used, whereas syphilis, that is one of the STD, and here we can see that the syphilis which is caused by Treponema pallidum, hence the correct option for this master column is the second one. We will discuss about the next question, that is question number 18. Identify marking A, B, C and D in the figure given below and select the correct option. So, first one, that is A means light chain, B means heavy chain, C is antigen binding site, and D is disulphide bond. And the second option is disulphide bond, and B is antigen binding site, C is heavy chain, and D is light chains. And the question number, option 3, where A is antigen binding site, B is light chain, and C is heavy chain, and D is disulphide bond. The fourth one, A is antigen binding site, B is disulphide bond, and C is light chain, D is heavy chain. So, in this particular question we have to identify a correct labeling in a particular diagram whatever given here. We can see that this is a diagram of the antibody molecule. So, here always we know that this is the region where there is antigen binding site, and also you can see that there is a presence of heavy chain. There are two heavy chains as well as two light chain, and this is antigen binding site, and also there is a bond between the heavy light chain that is called as disulphide bond, what you can see over here. So, hence based on this the correct option given here is the option 3, where they said A means it is antigen binding site, whereas B means it is a light chain on either side. There are two light chains L2, and also there are two heavy chains, that is H2 here, and the next one is the disulphide bond, that is between this here heavy and light chain, in between there is a disulphide bond. So, correct option is 3 for the question number 18. We will discuss about the next question, that is question number 19. A person has developed interferons in his body. He seems to carry infection of, so first one option 1 tetanus, option 2 malaria, option 3 measles, option 4 typhoid. So, here the question is a person has developed interferons in his body. So, interferons are generally a cytokine barriers which are produced only whenever there is a viral infections. So, hence now we have to identify which is the viral disease. Based on that we have to give an answer for that. So, the tetanus is a bacterial disease, malaria is a protozoan disease, whereas typhoid again a bacterial disease, whereas measles is a viral disease. So, hence we know that whenever there is viral infection, the infected cells will produce an interferon to protect other normal cells. Hence, remember that concept and identify a correct answer as a measles, that is third option for the question number 19. Go to the next question. Next question, that is question number 20. The question is, the first line of defense in the immune system is provided by, first line of defense in the immune system is provided by, first option, skin and mucous membrane, and the second one is inflammatory response, and the third one is the complement system, and the fourth one is none of this. We know that whenever there is eye infections, our immune system used to play a very important role, and hence we have the two types of immune system. One is called as innate immunity and another one is called as adaptive immunity, whereas acquired immunity, you can see that if you consider about this innate immunity itself, which is called a non-specific type of immunity, which used to function based on different types of barriers. So here we can see that the different barriers are physical barriers, physiological barriers, cellular barriers and cytokine barriers. Under that, the first line of defense is always a skin. So hence we can see that the skin and mucous membrane are the first line of defense and they are called as one of the physical barriers. So hence the correct option for this particular question is option 1. The next question is question number 21. Primary response produced due to first time encounter with the pathogen is of, first option, that is high intensity, second option, that is low intensity, third option is intermediate intensity, and the fourth option is no intensity. So whenever there is a primary responses are produced against certain infections, it will be always with low intensity. Whereas whenever this particular infections are again and again takes place to the body of the person, we used to produce high intensity, that is an amnestic response, or we used to call secondary response. So hence we know that the first option, that is high intensity, will not match, whereas low intensity is right, because always to the primary infection, the primary intensity whatever produced, it will be having low power, that is low intensity. So hence answer for the 21st question is the option second. Let us discuss about the next question, that is question number 22nd. Which of the following components does not participate in innate immunity? The first one is neutrophil, second one is macrophage, third one is B-lymphocyte, and the fourth one is natural killer cells. So we know that there are 4 different types of barriers, and under that the second one, which is called as first one is called physical barriers, second one physiological, third one is cellular barriers. We are considering here with the cellular barriers. When we consider about the first option, neutrophil is one of the cellular barriers which used to function as a phagocytic one. Even the macrophage, tissue macrophages, which used to play a very important role as one of the phagocytic cell, and third one, that is B lymphocytes. So these lymphocytes, they used to produce different types of secondary responses, that is called as if you consider about adaptive immunity. Under that this T lymphocyte as well as B lymphocyte used to play very important role, and hence they will not classified under these cellular barriers. And the fourth one is natural killer cells, or which is called as NK cells. So hence if you consider about the B lymphocyte, that come under adaptive immunity, or which is called as acquired immunity, whereas other 3, that is neutrophil, macrophage and NK cells, come under the innate immunity. Hence the correct option is the third one, that is called B lymphocytes. Next question, that is question number 23. The question is, following are the differences between innate immunity as well as the acquired immunity. The first one, innate immunity, it is inherited by an organism from the parents and protects them throughout their life, that is from birth to death. Whereas the next, that is acquired immunity, it is acquired by an organism after birth, that is called as acquired immunity. Whereas the second option, it is also called as specific immunity, that is innate immunity is also called specific immunity, they have given, whereas acquired immunity, it is also called as a non-specific immunity. Third option, that is under innate immunity, it consists of different types of barriers that prevent the entry of foreign agent. Whereas under acquired immunity, it consists of specialized cells as well as antibodies that circulate in the body fluid. When we go through the concept of innate immunity, we know that this is the type of immunity which is gained by birth and also remains throughout life. Whereas acquired immunity means which is acquired after birth, hence the first statement is true. The second one, if you consider the innate immunity, which is also called as non-specific immunity, acquired immunity is called as specific immunity, whereas that is interchanged in the question, that is why it is wrong. And the third one, that is under innate immunity, which is to function based on different types of barriers, that is true, whereas acquired immunity, which is to function based on the different types of the lymphocytic cells which used to function as antibodies which is circulated in the body fluid. So hence we can see that the correct option here is first and the third one. So that is given in the second option, hence the answer for this question is second option. So going to discuss about the next question, that is question number 24. Which one of the following immune system components does not correctly match with its respective role? The first one, that is interferons, secreted by virus, infected cells and protect non-infected cells from further viral infections. Second option, B lymphocytes, they produce antibodies in response to pathogen into blood to fight with them. Whereas the third one, macrophages, mucus secreting cells that trap microbes entering in the body. And the fourth one, IgA, that is immunoglobulin A, present in a colostrum early days of the lactation to protect infant from diseases. So here the question is to identify from the following statement which is not correctly matched. The first one we will consider, that is interferon, that is correctly matches because which is secreted from the viral infected cell to protect from other normal cells, hence first one is true. Second one, that is B lymphocyte. So this B lymphocyte which produce immune response by the production of antibodies, that is why it is true. Third one, macrophages. Macrophages means these are the tissue macrophages if you consider. So where it used to play very important role in the phagocytic function, that is engulfing the foreign agents and as well as the disease causing agents. So here it is given macrophages, mucus secreting cells that trap microbes entering into the body. So hence the third one if you consider, it is not a mucus secreting cell, that is why the third one is wrong. Fourth one, IgA, it is one of the antibody which is present in the colostrum, that is the initial days of the lactation process if you consider. With this type of antibody is high and which used to give immune responses to the baby in the early days. So as a result, the correct answer for the question number 24 is the third option. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 25. Read the following statements and select the correct ones. First option, that is a vaccine is a preparation of a dead or attenuated pathogen of a disease which on inoculation into a healthy person provides temporary or permanent active immunity by inducing antibody formation. The second one, immunization is the process by which the body produces antibodies against the vaccine preventable diseases through administration of a specific vaccines. Whereas the third option, that is the principle of immunization or vaccination is based on the property of memory of the immune system. The next one, fourth one, if a person is infected with some of the deadly microbes, like if you consider about the tetanus infections and all, to which quick immune response is required, in that case we need to directly inject the preformed antibodies or which is called as antitoxins. Example in case of tetanus, or if you consider about during snake bite and all. So here the question was previously to identify the or to select the correct statements. If we consider about all these options, whatever given, all are correct. So, hence we will go with the option 4, that is all are correct. So, question number 25, answer is all. The next question is 26. The genetic material of HIV. So, HIV full form is human immunodeficiency virus, and which is belonging to retrovirus group, which used to cause the disease, that is AIDS. And here the genetic material, if you consider, generally it is RNA, whereas if you consider about the RNA, whatever we can see in that virus, it is of the fourth option, that is ssRNA, single stranded RNA can be seen. So, that is why the option 4 is the right answer for the question number 26. Discuss about the next question, that is 27th question. Read the following statements and select the correct option. First statement, that is the exaggerated response of the immune system to certain antigens present in the environment is called as allergy. And the statement 2, the allergic tendency is genetically passed from parent to the offspring and is characterized by the presence of large quantities of IgG antibodies in the blood. We know that allergy, which is mainly defined as, it is an exaggerated response of the immune system, which is with response to the entry of allergens. So, hence the first statement is right. The second one, that is the allergic tendency, which is not inherited from generation after generation, that is from parents to offsprings, and that is why the second statement, if you consider, which is wrong, hence the answer is the second one, statement 1 is correct, whereas statement 2 is incorrect. We will discuss about the next question, that is question number 28. Read the following statement and select the correct option. The first statement again, when the immune system fails to recognize self and non-self and it starts destroying its own body's proteins, and this leads to autoimmune disease. And the statement 2, rheumatoid arthritis or autoimmune diseases. So, sometimes there is due to some unknown reasons or some unknown genetic reasons, we can see that there is a process of autoimmunity. Autoimmunity means where our own immune system or our own cells are treated as non-self. So, that is the memory based immune system function, where sometimes it gets failed to recognize self from non-self, and against its own cell it used to prepare antibodies, and these antibodies used to attack the own cells, and that condition is called as autoimmunity. And rheumatoid arthritis, myasthenia gravis, or if you consider about Hashimoto's thyroiditis are some of the examples for this autoimmune disorders. Whereas here the statement whatever given, both are true, hence the answer for this question is first option. Going to discuss about the next question, that is question number 29. Select the correct statement regarding the characteristics of acquired immunity. So, here the first one, cell-mediated immunity is responsible for acquired immunity. The second one, it produces a primary response of low intensity. A third one, active and passive are types of acquired immunity. And the fourth one, polymorphonuclear leukocytes, that is PMNL, and NK cells are involved in acquired immunity. So, here if you consider about the question is to identify the correct statement regarding the characteristics of acquired immunity, which is also called as adaptive immunity or memory based immune response. Whereas in this acquired immunity we can see that they are very specific to the specific type of the pathogens, and hence which is also called as specific immune response. And the first option is cell mediated immunity is responsible for acquired immunity, that is true. And second one, it produces the immune responses in the form of low intensity and also high intensity, that is an amnestic response, or always primary response will be with the low intensity. Third one, active and passive immunity are types of acquired immunity, they said. And the fourth one is the polymorphonuclear leukocytes and NK cells are involved in acquired immunity. So, these two cells come under barriers of innate immunity, that is cellular barriers. Hence, the option first, second and third is right, whereas fourth option is wrong. Hence, the answer for this question is first option. For the next question, that is question number 30. Read the statement carefully. The first option, colostrum rich in IgG antibodies. And the second one, malignant malaria is caused by Plasmodium falciparum. Third one, malaria could be confirmed by xanthoprotein test. And the next one, William Harvey demonstrated normal body temperature. And the next one, mental health is achieved by yoga. And which of the above statements are correct? Go to the first one, colostrum, it is the preformed milk during the process of lactation. So, here we can see that which is rich with IgA antibody, not IgG, whereas that is why the first one is wrong. Second one, malignant malaria which is caused by Plasmodium falciparum, that is true. And the next is malaria could be confirmed by some of the blood smear test, okay, not by xanthoprotein test. Xanthoprotein test is used for some of the protein to detect in some of the solutions. So, hence we can see that is the protein test, it is not the malarial test, hence that is also wrong. Third one is wrong. Fourth one, William Harvey who demonstrated the body temperature, that is true. The next one is mental health is achieved by yoga, that is also true. Hence the correct option is second, fourth and fifth. Hence the right answer is first option. We will discuss about the next question, question number 31. Which form of pathogen is used in vaccination? The first option, activated and strong pathogenic antigens. The second one, inactivated and weakened pathogens, antigens. And the third one, hyperactive and strong pathogen. The fourth one, preformed antibodies. So, generally, which form of pathogen is used in vaccination? If you consider about this vaccination where they are making our immune system to function based on the memory. So, it is a type of acquired immune response. That is why we can see that whenever this inactivated and weakened pathogen, inactivated or attenuated, weakened pathogen is injected to the body of the person. So, the body of the person used to start to produce antibodies against the certain pathogens. So, hence we can see that the correct answer is inactivated and weakened pathogenic antigens. So, the option second is the right answer for the question number 31st. The next question is question number 32. The term antitoxin refers the preparation containing first option B-lymphocytes and T-lymphocyte, second one antibodies and toxin, and the third one weakened pathogen, fourth one inactivated T-lymphocyte. So, here we can see that the first option, that is B-lymphocytes and T-lymphocytes, they will not come under this concept, whereas the second one antibodies to the toxin. So, if you consider about snake bite, against that the antivenom is given. So, this antivenom which has antitoxin effect, so hence it functions like a ready-made antibody, and even during the tetanus condition, hence we can consider the antitoxin for that antibodies to the toxin which was given. Hence the correct answer for this question number 32 is the second option. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 33. Cancer cells do not exhibit the property of the first one, that is generating tumors, and the second one metastasis, third one contact inhibition, fourth one less number of mitochondrial cristae. So, cancer cells means we know that these are continuously dividing cells, and generally these cells has the property of generating tumor, that is making other cell also to become tumorous, and the next one is invading other cell also to become a cancer, that is a property of metastasis, and it used to travel from one region of the body to other region to make other organ also to become a cancerous. And the next one is contact inhibitions. If you consider, cancer cell do not exhibit the property of contact inhibition, because it is a property of normal cell. We know that cancerous cells has the property of loss of contact inhibition, and less the number of mitochondrial crystals it has to. Hence the correct answer for the question number 33 is third one. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 34. Read the following statement and select the correct option. So statement 1, active immunity is developed when a person's own cell produces antibodies in response to infection or vaccine. And statement 2, injection of snake anti-venom against a snake bite is an example for immunization, that is active immunization they have given. Whereas here we know that the statement 1 is true, whereas the statement 2 is incorrect, because so when we inject anti-venom to snake bite, it is not active immunization, it is a passive immunization, that is ready-made antibodies which is given or preformed antibodies given. Hence the answer is statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect. So answer is second option. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 35. So read the following statement regarding the various techniques used in cancerous detection. First one, that is cancer detection is based on biopsy or histopathological studies of the tissue, blood or bone marrow. Test increased cell counts in case of leukemia. In case of leukemia, the increased cell count in the blood cells are used. The second one, in biopsy, a piece of suspected tissue which is cut into thin sections is stained and examined under microscope by a pathologist. The third option, techniques like, if you consider radiography, use of X-rays, and CT, that is computed tomography, and MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, are useful to detect cancers in the internal organs. Fourth one, computed tomography uses strong magnetic field and non-ionizing radiations to detect physiological changes in living tissues. The next fifth option, the MRI, that is magnetic resonance imaging, uses X-rays and ionizing radiation to generate 3D image of the internal structure of an object. The question is, which of the above statements were incorrect? As you all know, the different techniques used to detect cancer are biopsy or histopathological studies, as well as radiography and CT scan, and the next one is MRI scan. So here we can see that this CT scan, if you consider, and or MRI, these two are generally used to identify the internal body cancers or internal organ cancers, where here it is given that computed tomography uses strong magnetic field. So that should be an answer to the next option, that is MRI scan. Whereas under CT, where they used X-rays, so hence we can see that these two are interchanged. Hence here the wrong options or incorrect options were the fourth and fifth one itself. Hence the answer for this question is the fourth option, that is fourth and fifth are incorrect. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 36. Read the following statement carefully. First one, cancer causing viruses have genes called viral oncogenes, and the second one, malignant tumor remain confined to their original location. The third option, that is cancer cell do not exhibit contact inhibition, and the fourth one, X-rays and UV rays are not potent carcinogens, and fifth one, that is cancer detection is based on biopsy. Which of the above statements are not correct? So here if you consider about the first one, that is cancer causing viruses have the genes which are called as the viral oncogene, that is true. So the next one, malignant tumor remain confined to the region of their original location. That is wrong. Actually, benign tumor, if you consider, which remain on the region of location or where they have confined, whereas the malignant tumor used to get spread from the region of the confined region to other organs. So, that is why they have the property of metastasis. Third one, cancer cells do not exhibit contact inhibition. Yes, they do not exhibit contact inhibition. And fourth one, X-rays and UV rays are not potent carcinogens. So, if you consider about the fourth option, so this is also, we can see that it is not related. And the next one, that is here we have to identify about regarding cancer, which are the statements are not correct. So, here the first one is correct and even the third option is correct, whereas the second and fourth is wrong, because here they said that in the second it is not applicable for malignant, it is benign, and the fourth one, that is X-rays and UV rays are not potent carcinogens, so they used to. So, that is why we can see that answer for this question number 36 is the option second. We will discuss about the next question, that is 37. Which of the following approaches are used for the treatment of cancer? Option 1, that is immunotherapy, second option surgery, third option radiotherapy and chemotherapy, and fourth all of this. So, generally to treat cancer, the treatments are, one is regarding surgery, radiotherapy, or if you consider about the immunotherapy or chemotherapy. These are the different treatment measures which is used, hence the answer is all of this. The next question, that is question number 38. Cocaine is commonly called as, the first option smack, whereas the second, that is coke, the third option crack, the fourth option both 2 and 3. So, the first option, if you consider about the smack is the common name which is used for the opioid drug, that is heroin, whereas the second one coke, it is the common name of for this cocaine, whereas the next crack is also another name which is used for this coke alkaloids. So, answer is both 2 and 3, that is option 4. Moving on to the next question, question number 39. So, dash is a central nervous system stimulant as it interferes with the transport of the neurotransmitters. So, here the first one cocaine, acetylcholine, the second option barbiturate, glutamate, and the third one cocaine, dopamine, and the fourth one barbiturate. So, here the question was which used to act like a stimulant of CNS after the intake of these drugs, and which used to interfere the transport of neurotransmitters function. So, generally the stimulant of drugs, if you consider, so cocaine, acetylcholine, barbiturate, glutamate or barbiturate, if you consider, generally which used to cause depressant disorders. This cocaine, dopamine, which used to delay the functions of neurotransmitters or inhibit the functions of neurotransmitters. Hence, the correct option for the question number 39 is the third option, cocaine and dopamine. Discuss about the next question, question number 40. Hepatitis B vaccine is produced from. So, the first option inactivated viruses, second option Haemophilus influenza, third one yeast, fourth one Salmonella, typhi. So, hepatitis B, if you consider, it is one of the dangerous disorder or STD, where for this particular disease the vaccine which was invented by using as a vector by this yeast. So, the option is third one, that is yeast. For the next question, that is 41. The most abundant antibody produced against allergen is. So, here the word most abundant antibody produced against allergen, that is what we have to stress here. And generally here there is a confusing options like IgE, IgA, IgN, IgM. The most abundant antibody means it is IgG, whereas produced during allergic response is IgE itself. So, that is why here option first is the correct answer. Next question number 42. The drugs used to quickly reduce the symptoms of allergy are. The first one, that is antihistamine and adrenaline, Second one, histamine and thyroxine. The third one is, that is adrenaline and alpha interferon, and the fourth one is all of this. So generally during allergic responses, the drugs used are, if you consider about some of the steroidal drugs, antihistamine or adrenaline is the drugs used, whereas histamine is the substance which used to cause allergic responses. So hence by differentiating properly, we have to stick on to the answer first option, antihistamine and adrenaline is the right answer. So the question number 42 has the answer first option. Discuss about the next question, that is 43. An autoimmune disease is. So regarding autoimmune disease already we have discussed. So here they have given some of the name of the diseases, like first one, that is SIT, and the second rheumatoid arthritis, and third one is myasthenia gravis, fourth one both 2 and 3. The first option, if you consider SCID, means it is a severe combined immuno disorder, or if you consider about severe combined immune diseases. Okay. With the next one is the second one, rheumatoid arthritis, and the third one is myasthenia gravis. So here rheumatoid arthritis as well as myasthenia gravis are the two important autoimmune disorders. Hence the answer for the question 43 is both 2 and 3, that is fourth option. The next question, question number 44. The primary lymphoid organs are, first one spleen and thymus, second bone marrow and thymus, a third one bone marrow and lymph node, and the fourth one thymus and malt. So here if you consider about the lymphoid organs, we can classify them as primary and secondary lymphoid organs. Primary lymphoid organs are always bone marrow and thymus, where there is a production of this T lymphocytes, B lymphocytes takes place. Whereas the secondary lymphoid organs, it's a region where this lymphocytic cell which becomes sensitive to this antigens. Okay. So that's why we can say that they become antigen sensitive antibodies in the secondary lymphoid organs. So these organs are spleen or tonsils, appendix, okay, malt, galt, these are secondary lymphoid organs, even Peyer's patches. So here the question was primary lymphoid organs, they are bone marrow and thymus. So the option second is the right answer. What is the next question? Question number 45. Which of these glands is large at the time of birth, but in adults it reduces to a very small size? So here the options are thyroid, adrenal, thymus and spleen. The question was, which of these gland, whatever given in the following, during the childhood stage, if you see, this gland will be having enlarged size. After, whenever we reach to adult life, this particular gland size goes on reducing. Whereas if you see in old age people, the gland size becomes very small. So which is responsible for the immune responses also. So hence the answer for this is the thymus itself, because where there is a process of the production of the lymphocytic cells and all takes place. So hence we can see that the answer for this question is option 3, that is thymus, which is located in the chest region. The next question, question number 46. Read the following statements regarding the spleen and select the correct option. So first one, a spleen is a large bean-shaped organ which mainly contains lymphocytes and phagocytes. The second one, spleen is a large reservoir of erythrocytes, that is RBCs. And the third one, spleen is a primary lymphoid organ. And the fourth one, a spleen acts as a filter of the blood-borne antigens. In the sense, spleen acts to filter the blood-borne microorganisms or the blood by trapping blood-borne microorganisms. So here regarding spleen, which of the statement is correct, we have to see. So here if you consider about the statement, like first statement is true and the second statement also true. The third one, spleen is a primary lymphoid organ, it is wrong because spleen acts as a secondary lymphoid organ. So whereas fourth statement is true. So hence the answer is fourth option, first, second and fourth. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 47. The cells called HIV factory is. That is the life cycle of HIV which is continued in the which cell. So, the option 1 that is helper T cells, option B that is macrophages, option 3 that is dendritic cells, and fourth one is WBCs. So, here we can see that the helper T cells are not of HIV factory. Here the direct answer is macrophages, because whenever this HIV enters into our body, it uses this macrophages as a site where they can divide and multiply and produce numerous members. So, hence it is considered as HIV factory. So, answer is macrophages. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 48. Heroin is commonly called as coke, crack, smack, cocaine. So, if you consider about the heroin is one of the opioid drug. So, heroin is commonly called as smack itself. So, this coke or crack, which is example for coca alkaloid. So, hence the answer for this particular question is smack. Moving on to the next question, that is 49th question. So, the figure given below shows the mode of action of AIDS virus. Identify the steps A, B, C, D and E are labeled in it. So, first one, that is if you consider about the diagram where they have represented A, B, C, D, where we have to correctly identify the life cycle of this HIV virus. So, first option, if you consider A is new viral DNA introduced into cell, whereas B is viral DNA produced, and C is viral DNA incorporated into the host genome, D means new viral DNA, E is new viruses produced. So, if consider about the second option, A is viral DNA incorporated into host genome, whereas B is a viral DNA, and C is new viral RNA produced, and D is viral RNA produced, E is new viruses produced. Whereas third one, that is option A, viral RNA produced, option B, that is viral DNA, option C, viral DNA incorporated into host genome, and D is new viral RNA which is produced, and E is the new viruses produced. Whereas option D, that is A means viral RNA produced, B is viral RNA, C is the viral RNA incorporated into host body, whereas the D is new viral genome produced, and E is new viruses produced. So, here based on the diagram whatever given in the slide, we have to identify the correct sequence of the options. So, when you see the diagram where you can see that there is HIV virus with a protein code, this HIV virus which enters into the host body. So, when it comes in contact with the host body, it used to release a viral genome from the protein code into the host body cell membrane. After incorporating that particular genetic material, that is RNA, there is an initiation of the process called as reverse transcription with the help of the enzyme called reverse transcriptase. Whenever there is a reverse transcription process, the particular RNA is to produce DNA, that is viral DNA. That viral DNA enters into host nucleus. So, when it introduced into host nucleus, the host nucleus accepts the viral DNA, and where there is a process of transcription, that is production of RNA from DNA. So, whenever the RNAs whatever produced by this particular host nucleus, and when we analyze, these RNAs are of viral RNA. So, these viral RNA whatever produced, they acquire a new protein code and they are released into a new viruses. So, this is what the life cycle. Hence, if you consider about the correct match for this life cycle is option 3. So, hence the answer for that particular question 49 is the third option. Question, that is question number 50. Datura is a dash plant. The option 1 sedative, and option 2 hallucinogenic, and option 3 excitatory, and option 4 that is health tonic. So, here Datura plant, if you consider, it is one of the hallucinogenic agent. Hallucinogenic agent means it is the feeling or perception of the person after taking this type of drugs which are prepared from datura, the person used to feel like is more happiest person in the world, and even he used to perceive some of the things, or he used to hear, or he used to taste, or he used to see some things actually that is not present really. So hence it is away from the reality, but he used to sense everything. So hence it is called hallucinogenic drug. That was one of the example. So hence datura is a hallucinogenic origin, hallucinogenic plant, whereas the sedative means is like a painkiller sedative. Excitatory means which used to stimulate the function. So correct option for the question number 50 is the second one, hallucinogenic. Next question, question number 51. AIDS is characterized by first option, decrease in the number of killer T cells, and second, decrease in the number of suppressor T cells, and decrease in the number of helper T cells. Fourth one, increase in the number of helper T cells. So here if you consider about the T lymphocyte, there are different types which are classified into helper T cells, cytotoxic T cells or killer T cells, memory T cells and suppressor T cells. So out of which, whenever this HIV virus enters into the host body, it used to reduce the number of helper T cells. So that is what the main function. Hence the immune responses of the body goes on reducing. There is a deficiency of immune system occurs. So correct option is the third one, that is the decrease in the number of helper T cells. Go to the next question, that is question number 52. Which one of the following statement is correct? First one, benign tumors spread to distant sites. Second one, heroin accelerates body functions. Third one, malignant tumor exhibit metastasis. Fourth one, patient who have undergone surgery are given the cannabinoid to relieve pain. So the question is, which of the following statement is correct? The first one, benign tumor used to spread to distinct sites. It is wrong, because benign will not spread. It is confined to the region of origin, whereas malignant tumor used to spread. That is why the first one is wrong. Second one, heroin accelerates body function. Heroin, which acts like a depressant drug, so hence it slows down the body function. That is why the second one also wrong. Third one, that is malignant tumor exhibit metastasis. That is true, because malignant tumor, in that case we can see that the tumorous cell, when it gets ruptured, it used to travel in a bloodstream and used to infect the other organ also to become cancerous. So that is why the third option is right. And fourth one, patients who have undergone surgery are given cannabinoids to relieve pain. So here it is wrong, because morphine is suggested, so where it acts like a sedative or painkiller. That is why we can see that the fourth option also is not correct. So answer is the third one. The next question, question number 53. Select the correct option to fill up the blanks. First one, with repeated dose of drugs, the tolerance level of the receptor present in our body dash, and the second, smoking increases dash content and reduces the dash concentration dash in a blood. And the next, that is cannabinoid receptors are present in the dash. Next one, morphine is a very effective dash and dash. Next question, opioids are extracted from the dash of poppy plant, Papaver somniferum. So here, if you consider about the question related to that, the options are given below. We will see a right options among these. First one, with repeated use of drugs, the tolerance level of receptor present in our body goes on increasing. And the next, smoking increases dash content. Smoking used to increase the carbon monoxide content and reduces the concentration of hemoglobin in the blood. So heme-bound oxygen that will goes on decrease, that is smoking increases the carbon monoxide content and reduces the concentration of heme-bound oxygen in the blood. That is second option. Third one, cannabinoid receptors are present in the brain. And the next one, morphine is a very effective sedative and painkiller agent. Next, opioids are extracted from the latex of poppy plant, that is Papaver somniferum. So, if you consider about all these options which are there in the second option, that is why answer for the question number 53 is second option. Question number 54, the chronic use of drugs and alcohol results in, chronic in the sense long term use. The first one, excess mucus and blood clots. Second, internal bleeding and muscular pain. Third one, cirrhosis and nervous system damage. And the fourth one, leukemias and lymphomas. So here you can see that the first one, excess mucus and blood clots, is not related to that. Whenever there is a chronic use of drugs or alcohol is done, generally there is liver cirrhosis or liver damage can be seen, and also it used to damage the nervous system. So the right answer for this question is the option 3. The next question, question number 55, along with the nicotine, cigarette smokers or cigars or phenols, hydrocarbons or arsenic and many other chemicals, which of the following is not an effect of smoking tobacco? First one, the narrowing or hardening of blood vessels in the heart and brain. And the second option, higher frequency of respiratory infections like cold, pneumonia. Third option, higher risk of cancer or including cancer of the lungs, mouth, larynx, bladder and kidneys. Fourth one, none of this. So it is related to the, along with nicotine, cigarette smokers like cigars, phenols, hydrocarbons, arsenic and many other chemicals, which of the following not an effect of smoking this tobacco? Okay. So all are the effect of that. So that's why the answer, if you consider, the answer is none of this. The next question is the question number 56. The assertion is, in spite of exposure of a large number of the infectious agents, humans are resistant to diseases. Yes. The reasons are, humans are able to defend against most of the foreign agents due to the ability to fight against the infectious or disease causing organisms. So in the sense, whenever our body is exposed into the different types of antigens, our immune system becomes strong and it can develop immune responses against certain disease causing agent. So hence, if you consider about the options, the first one, if both assertion and reasons are true, and the reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. So first one, it is correct for the particular question. Question number 57, also match the following questions. So if you consider about the column 1 or the list 1, we have given about the helper T cells, plasma cells, killer T cells and also interferon. Whereas in the list 2, the cells that are active in production of antibodies, or the second, activate B lymphocytes to become plasma cells. A third, protein produced by the virus infected cell. And fourth, that is combined with antigen causing lysis and release of cytokinins. So the first one, helper T cells. Helper T cells, if you consider, for that the correct answer is which activate B lymphocytes to become a plasma cells. Whereas the second one, that is regarding plasma cells are generally they used to produce antibodies. That's why the cells that are active in production of antibodies. Third one is the killer T cells, type of the T cells. So killer T cells, if we consider, for that they combine with antigen causing lysis and release cytokines. That's why the name the killer T cells. The next one is interferons. Interferons means these are produced from the viral infected cell, that is protein produced by the virus infected cell. So option is fourth one for this question number 57. Question number 58. Many diseases can be diagnosed by observing the symptoms in the patient. Which groups of symptoms are indicative of the pneumonia? First option, that is difficulty in respiration, fever, chillness, cough, headache. Second one, constipation, abdominal pain, cramps and blood clots. The third one, that is nasal congestion and discharge from the nasal region, cough, sore throat, headache. Fourth one, that is high fever, weakness, stomach pain, loss of appetite and the problem of constipation. So, here if you consider about the first option which is related to the particular question, that is many diseases can be diagnosed by observing the symptoms of the patient. So, here the question is which group of the symptoms are indicative of pneumonia. We have to identify the symptoms of pneumonia. So, during pneumonia there is a lower respiratory tract which gets infected, hence there is a difficulty in breathing, and also the person used to have fever, chillness, cough and headache. So, first one is the right answer, whereas the second one, constipation, abdominal pain, abdominal cramps can be seen in the disease, that is amoebiasis. Next, nasal congestion or discharge or sore throat can be seen in common cold. The next one, high fever, weakness, stomach pain, loss of appetite can be seen as symptoms of typhoid. So, the correct answer for the question number 58 is first option. Go to the next question, that is question number 59. So, here assertion is tobacco contains a large number of alkaloids including nicotine, whereas the reason is nicotine stimulates the adrenal glands which decrease the blood pressure and increase the heart rate. Whereas the options are if both assertion and reasons are true, and the reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. Second one, if both assertion and reasons are true, but the reason is not a correct explanation for the assertion. And the next third one, if assertion is true, but the reason is false. Fourth one, both reason and assertions are false. We can see that the assertion is tobacco contains a large number of alkaloid including nicotine. Yes, assertion is true. Reason, nicotine stimulates adrenal gland to release adrenaline, that is emergency hormone, which used to increase the blood pressure and also increases the heart rate. So, that is why the reason is wrong. They have said that here the blood pressure gets decreased. So, blood pressure gets increased, that is why assertion is true, but the reason is false. Option 3. Question number 60. Read the following statement and select the correct option. The statement 1 is, malignant tumors normally remain confined to the original location and do not spread to other body parts and cause less damage. Whereas the statement 2, cancer arising from epithelial tissues of internal organs and glands is referred to as sarcoma. For example, breast cancer, cervical cancer, etc. Third one, so these are the statement as 1 and 2 for the option, that is first one, both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and second statement 1 is correct, but the statement 2 is incorrect, and the 3, statement 1 is incorrect, but the statement 2 is correct, and the fourth one, both the statement 1 and 2 are incorrect. So, here the statement 1, malignant tumors normally remain confined to their original. They never remain confined to their original, they used to get spread. That is why first one statement is wrong. Second, cancer arising from epithelial tissue, which is considered as carcinoma, not sarcoma. So, hence we can see that both assertion and reasons are false. Option 4 is the right answer. Moving on to the next question, question number 61. Several genes called dash have been identified in normal cells, which when activated will turn into dash and under certain conditions could lead to cancerous the transformation of the cells. So, here complete the above paragraph selecting the correct sequence of words. So, here the options are oncogenes, proto-oncogenes, first option. Second option, that is cellular oncogenes, proto-oncogenes. Third option, proto-oncogenes and oncogenes. Fourth option, oncogenes and proto-oncogenes. So here the question is, several genes called dash have been identified normal, that is proto-oncogenes itself, and when activated it will turn into cancerous gene, that is called oncogenes. So the right answer is the option 3, that is proto-oncogenes and oncogenes. The next question, question number 62. That is, in human, the receptor for opioids are present in the option 1 CNS, that is central nervous system, and option 2 that is GI tract, and option 3 that is respiratory tract, and option 4 that is both 1 and 2. So here we can see that the receptor for opioids generally present in GI tract as well as central nervous system. Hence the answer is both 1 and 2. Moving on to the next question, question number 63. Which of the following statement is not correct? So underline the word not correct, that is very important. Going to the first option, higher vertebrates can distinguish the foreign organisms from self cells. Second, the fetus receives antibodies from its mother through placenta is an example of active immunity. The third one, cell-mediated immunity involves T lymphocytes. Fourth one, antibodies against cancer-specific antigens are used for detection of certain cancers. So here we can see that the question was to identify the incorrect statement. The first one, that is higher vertebrates also can distinguish the foreign organism from self cells. That is the property of the higher organism, self and non-self. So that is regarding the immune system, it is true, hence first one is right. Going to the second option that is given, that is the fetus receives the antibody from the mother, it is not active immunity, it is a type of passive immunity. So that is through colostrum it is going to obtain the antibody, that is why it is passive immunity, that is why it is wrong. And the third one, cell-mediated immunity involves T lymphocytes, that is true. And the fourth one, antibodies against cancer-specific antigens used for detection of different types of cancers. So except the third statement, all the three statements were right, hence except the second statement, all the three statements were right, hence the correct and the answer for the question, that is which one is not correct, that is second one is not correct, it should be passive immunity. Moving on to the question, next question, that is question number 64. Marijuana is extracted from, first one, dried leaves and flowers of hemp plant, and next is ergot fungus, third one is roots of hemp plant, and fourth one is cocoa plant. So here if you consider about this particular question, that is marijuana. So marijuana is a drug which is extracted from the cannabinoid plants, and there are combinational drugs like hashish, charas, ganja, marijuana, etc. And generally this particular product of marijuana which is extracted by using dried leaves and flowers of the plant, that is hemp plant. So hence the answer is first one itself. Moving on to the question number 65. Which of this is a member of the group of chemical whose chemical structure is given below? So here we can see that the options are marijuana, hashish, or ganja, and all of this. So this is the structural formula of the component, that is cannabinoid. So hence we can consider cannabinoid, which is one of the plant which is used to extract the combinational drugs like marijuana, charas, ganja, hashish. So hence the answer is all of this. So the fourth option is right. Moving on to the next question, question number 66. Which drug is being excessively taken by some sports person nowadays? So here the options are opioids, barbiturates, cannabinoids, and LSD. The sports person used to misuse the drugs like cannabinoids. So hence we can see that the answer is the third option itself. Cannabinoids are misused by the sports person which used to act like energy boosters. So, and also it used to cause some of the health aspects, health issues. If you consider about the sports male as well as in female, there are certain sterile activity also caused by the excessive use of these drugs. So, the right option for the particular question is the third option. Moving on to the next question, question number 67. Select the correct statement. Option 1, opium or dried latex obtained from the unripe capsular fruits of poppy plant, and the second one, the drug obtained from Indian hemp plant affects the cardiovascular system, in the sense it used to slow down the function. Third one, alpha interferons are biological immune modifier. So, alpha interferon, which was used as a immunosuppressive drugs, alpha interferon, which is one of the drug which is used in a cancerous treatment, that was called as immunological treatment measures. So, hence we can see that the answer is all of these. So, all the statements whatever given, all are correct, hence the option 4 is the right answer. Moving on to the next question, question number 68. Which drug is used as a medicine to help a patient cope with the depression and insomnia? So, if we consider about the meaning of insomnia is sleeplessness, whereas depression, we know the way the functions of the body becomes slows down. So, here the options are morphine, amphetamine, barbiturate, and both 2 and 3. So, generally after intake of some of the drugs like amphetamines and barbiturates, it used to slows down the body function, and also the person used to have the problem of insomnia. So, hence the sleeplessness, the meaning of insomnia. Hence we can see that the right answer is fourth option. The next question, question number 69. Which one of the following is a mismatched pair? So, for the first option, datura, hallucinogen. Option 2, malt, 50% of the lymphoid tissue. And third one, Peyer's patch, intestine. Fourth one, humoral immunity, graft rejection. So, when we analyze these 4 options, where we have to identify which one is mismatched. First one is right, second is right, and even third one is right. Fourth one is mismatched. The reason is that humoral immunity, it is the property of B lymphocytes or B cells. So, graft rejection is the property of T lymphocytes. So, hence we can see that the fourth option is the right answer for the question, that is mismatched pair. Going to the next question, that is question number 70. Adolescence means. So, the definition of adolescence was given here. The first one, it is the process during which a child becomes mature in terms of his attitude, beliefs for effective participation in society. Whereas the second one, it is both a period and process during which a child becomes mature in terms of his or her belief or attitude for effective participation in society. And the next one, third one, a period during which a child becomes mature in terms of his or her attitude and beliefs for effective participation in society. And the fourth one is all. But exact definition for adolescence is, it is a period or the process in which the child, that is he or her, attain maturity in terms of attitude or belief for the effective participation in society. As the correct answer is the second option. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 71. Level of which hormone get elevated by the intake of nicotine, that is one of the alkaloid present in tobacco. Option 1, FSH, LH. Option 2, thyroxine, progesterone. Option 3, oxytocin, prolactin. Option 4, adrenaline, noradrenaline. So, after intake of nicotine, the level of adrenaline and noradrenaline will be elevated or increased. Hence, it used to cause some of the problems like increased heart rate or increased sweating or increased GFR rate, etc. So, the correct option is fourth one. Next question number 72. Dash is a very effective painkiller and sedative used for patients who have undergone surgery. Option 1 paracetamol, option 2 morphine, option 3 LSD, option 4 barbiturate. The answer is morphine. Sedative means painkiller. Next question number 73. Atropa belladonna is option 1, that is ornamental plant, option 2 hallucinogenic plant, and the third one immunomodulator plant, fourth one depressant plant. So here we can see that Atropa belladonna is one of the plant which is used to extract some of the cocaine drugs. So here the answer for that is hallucinogenic plant. So the extraction of this particular plant which has the depressant effect to the body of the person. So generally after intake of this particular drug extracted from this Atropa belladonna, the person used to feel like or used to perceive the some things or taste or something he used to hear which is not exactly present in front of him. So that's why it is a hallucinogenic property of him. Answer for this question 73 is second option. The next question is question number 74. LSD is. The full form of LSD is lysergic acid diethylamide. So the correct answer is option 3. Moving on to the next question 75. Treatment of AIDS with antiretroviral drug is option 1 not at all effective, option 2 fully effective, option 3 partially effective, and option 4 leads to secondary infections. So when AIDS is treated with antiviral drug, it is partially effective because till now the complete treatment for this AIDS, it is not till now possible because the invention which is going on in discovery of the medicine for this particular HIV infections or AIDS infections. So still it is in our investigations. So hence we can see that it is a partially effective. So question number 75 answer is 3. Moving on to the next question, question number 76. Dash is a psychological attachment to certain effects like euphoria and associated with drugs and alcohol. So it is the definition of addiction. So addiction is a psychological disorder or psychological attachment to certain effects such as euphoria and associated with drugs and alcohol. After taking this drugs and alcohol, the person used to feel like is the happiest person in the world or more excited. So that's why the answer is addiction, option 2nd. Moving on to the next question, question number 77. If regular dose of drugs or alcohol is abruptly discontinued, it causes the first one hallucination, second withdrawal symptoms, third one that is called withdrawal syndrome, the third one diversion to criminal activities, and the fourth one severe depression. So here whenever the regular intake of this drug or alcohol is discontinued, the person used to have the withdrawal syndromes like if you consider about nausea or weakness, or we can see that severe sweating or anxiety. These are the common symptoms, or even there is a shaking of the body. So hence these symptoms are called as the withdrawal syndromes. Once again, the withdrawal syndromes are there is shaking of the body, anxiety or nausea or sweating. These are the 4 important withdrawal syndromes. So hence the answer for the question 77 is withdrawal syndromes. Moving on to the question number 78. Death in case of overdose of drug occur due to first one respiratory failure, second heart failure, third one cerebral hemorrhage, and fourth one all of this. So the answer is whenever the person has the problem of regular intake of these drugs or the alcohol, so generally there is a chances of having all these problems. Hence we can see that respiratory failure or cardiac failure, and the next one is cerebral hemorrhage can occur. Hence the answer for this particular question is all of this. That is fourth option. Moving on to the next question, question number 79. Drug abusers can suffer from infections like first one hepatitis, second depression, third euphoria, fourth one cirrhosis. So generally drug abusers, they use the syringe to take intravenous drug. Whenever this intravenous drug habitat is developed, there is a chances of spread of STDs. Hence, there is a chances of inviting hepatitis. So hence, we can see that the answer for this question number 79 is hepatitis. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 80. Chronic alcoholism damages which vital organ of the body? The options are, one is heart, second is kidney, third one is liver, fourth one is brain. So the chronic alcoholism means long-term intake of alcohol may damage liver. So hence we can see that the option 3 is right, and right one, that is liver. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 81. Generally, sportsmen abuse which categories of drugs? Option 1, immunomodulators. Second, that is anabolic steroids. Third, cannabinoids. Fourth, both 2 and 3. The right answer is anabolic steroids. So these anabolic steroids are misused by the sports person to develop more energy or to participate actively. So hence we can see that anabolic steroids are misused. Hence the answer for the question number 81 is the second option. Question number 82. Which categories of drugs are used by sportsmen? First option, that is certain hormones. Second, anabolic steroids. Third one, diuretics, and fourth one, all of this. So answer is all of this, because all of these drugs are used by the sports persons. So hence we can see that the correct answer for the question number 82 is fourth option. Moving on to the question number 83. Liver damage is termed as. The first one, leaching. Second one, cirrhosis. Third one, aplasia. Fourth one, hemorrhage. The term which is used for liver damage is cirrhosis. So that's why the answer is second option. Moving on to the next question, that is 84. If females are administered anabolic steroids, which of the following symptoms are observed? First option, abnormal menstruation. Second, excessive hair growth. Third one, enlargement of clitoris. Fourth one, all of this. So all these symptoms can be seen in a female, that is sports persons, when they administer this type of anabolic steroids or diuretics, and these problems, all these problems can be seen in her. So answer for this question number 84 is fourth options. Moving on to the next question, question number 85. What is shown in the figure? So one diagram is given in the figure where we have to identify the correct option to that. So the picture whatever given, which is the picture of the leaf of cannabis. So the right answer for the question number 85 is the third option, that is cannabis. To answer for the question number 86 onwards, where you have to see that here the directions were given. So directions means in the following questions a statement of the assertion is followed by the statement of reason. So mark the correct choice as the first one, if both assertion and reasons are true and the reason is correct explanation for the assertion. And the second one, if both the assertion and reasons are true, but the reason is not correct explanation for the assertion. And the third one, if assertion is true but the reason is false. And the fourth one, both assertion and reasons are false. Moving on to the question number 86, that is assertion. PMNL, polymorphonuclear leukocyte, are cellular barriers. It is true. Reason, acid in stomach act like physiological barrier. So both are true, but the reason is not a correct explanation to the assertion. Hence we'll go with the answer second option. So answer for question number 86 is second option. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 87. Assertion is, in tetanus, free-formed antibodies are given to the patient. It is like passive immunity. A reason, quick immune response which is required in tetanus. So here we can see that the assertion and reason both are true, and the reason whatever given which is the correct explanation for the assertion. Hence we will go with the option 1. So for the question number 87, right answer is 1. Next, question number 88. So here assertion is, bone marrow and thymus are primary lymphoid organs. The reason is immature lymphocytes differentiate and proliferate in these sites, that is in these organs. So actually here we used to call bone marrow and thymus as primary lymphoid organs. And in this region, actually in the bone marrow and thymus, this B lymphocyte as well as T lymphocyte, they do proliferation differentiation process. Hence we can see that both assertion and reasons are true, and the reason is the correct explanation for the assertion. Hence the question number 88, for that correct answer is first option. Moving on to the next question, 89. Assertion: subsequent encounter with the same pathogen, body elicit highly intensified response called anamnestic response or secondary response. Reason: this is based on the fact that our body appears to have the memory of the first encounter. So it is a type of acquired immune response where we can see that based on memory, our immune cells used to produce a primary and secondary response. Primary response with low intensity, secondary response or anamnestic response with high intensity of lymphocytes or antibodies. Hence, the subsequent entry of same pathogen elicit the anamnestic response, that is strong immune response. Hence, both reason as well as assertion, both are related, and this particular reason which is correct explanation for the assertion. Hence, the option for this particular question is the first option for the question number 89. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 90. Here the assertion is benign tumors are called neoplastic cells, and the reason is the malignant tumor remain the place to form a compact mass by a process known as metastasis. If you consider about the assertion itself, benign tumor are called neoplastic cells. That's wrong, because malignant tumor cells are called as neoplastic. That's why assertion is wrong. Reason: malignant tumor remain a place to form a compact mass by the process known as metastasis. So hence you can say that here they won't remain a place, they used to move from one region to another, they make other organ also to become cancerous. Hence we can see that both assertion and reason both are false. Hence the answer for this question is the fourth option. So moving on to the next chapter, that is biomolecules under this unit, and in this chapter the first question is which of the following are important for our body but required in lesser amount? The options are vitamins and minerals, proteins, fats and carbohydrates. The right answer is vitamins and minerals. First option. The second question, a homopolymer has only a type of building block called monomer repeated n number of times. Heteropolymer has more than one type of a monomer. Proteins are heteropolymers made up of amino acids, while nucleic acids like DNA or RNA is made up of only 4 types of nucleotide monomers. Proteins are made up of, first one, 20 types of monomers, second 40 types of monomer, third 3 types of monomers, fourth one only 1 types of monomer. So here in this question, there is question number 2, we can see that generally if you consider about proteins, these proteins are made up of a building block of amino acids. So here nearly 20 different types of amino acids which are present in a protein. So right answer is the first option, that is 20 types of monomers, they are nothing but amino acids can be seen. So answer for the question 2 is first option. Moving on to the question number 3. Many elements are found in the living organisms either free or in the form of compounds. One of the following element is not found in the living organisms. So here we have to stress the word one of the element is not found in the living organisms. So the first option is silicon, second one is magnesium, third one is iron and fourth one is sodium. So the right answer is the silicon. So it is the first option. Question number 4. Nucleosides are formed by the action of, first one nucleosidase, second option nucleotidase, third option nuclease, fourth option lipase. So nucleosides are formed generally whenever there is action of nucleotidase, not nucleosidase. Whenever nucleosidase act, they used to further break this particular nucleoside into ribose sugar as well as nitrogenous base. Hence, remember that nucleosides are formed by the action of nucleotidases. So, option second is the right answer for the question number 4. Moving on to the next question, question number 5. Many organic substances are negatively charged. Example, acetic acid, while others are positively charged. Example, ammonium ion. An amino acid under certain conditions would have both positive and negative charges simultaneously in the same molecule. Such a condition of the amino acid, which is called as Zwitter ion. So, that is what Zwitter ionic form. So, hence the option for the question number 5 is fourth. Moving on to question number 6. Enzymes are heterocatalysts. They catalyze the biochemical reactions. In general, they reduce activation energy of the reactions. So, many physicochemical processes are enzymes mediated. Some examples of enzyme mediated reactions are given below. Tick the wrong entry. So, here first option is dissolving carbon dioxide in water, and second is unwinding of 2 strands of DNA, third is hydrolysis of sucrose, and the fourth is formation of peptide bond. Here the question was, some examples of enzyme mediated reactions are given below. Tick the wrong entry. So, here we can see that the wrong entry is the first one itself, dissolving carbon dioxide in water. That is wrong entry. So, answer for the question number 6 is the first option. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 7. Which one out of A to D given below represents the structural formula of basic amino acids? So, there are some structural formulas given in this chart where we have to identify about the basic amino acids. So, here options were A, and second option is C, third option is D, and the fourth option is A. While answering for this question, be very careful that see the options, one is A and the second is not B, here it is given C, and the third one is not C, here it is given D. As a result, you should be very careful about the options whatever given. See the structural formula and identify this structural formula which matches for basic amino acids. We can give an example of arginine, lysine, etc. as a basic amino acids. So, here the basic amino acid is the third option, that is D, which is the structure of basic amino acid, because which has the amino end. Hence, we can see that the answer for the question number 4 is, question number 7 is third option, that is D. D is the structure of lysine. But the next question number 8. Study the given statement and select the correct option. So, here option 1, carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids and lipids are primary metabolites. And the second, alkaloids, flavonoids, rubber, etc. are secondary metabolites. The third one, linolenic or linoleic and palmitic acids are the 3 essential fat acids. Next, so here if you consider about the question, we have to select correct options. In case of the first and second option, if you consider, both are true, and third option, that is linoleic and linolenic and palmitic acids are the 3 essential fatty acids, it's wrong actually, and we will not consider linolenic as essential fatty acids. As a result, this one is wrong. And the next, so the statement 1 and 2 are correct, third one is wrong. So, answer is option 1 for question number 8. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 9. A given structural formula is correctly identified along with this related function of which of the following options? So, here the first one, that is cholesterol, a component of animal cell. Second one, that is lecithin, a component of plasma membrane or cell membrane. Third one, triglyceride, an energy source. Fourth one, that is adenosine, a component of nucleic acid. So, the given formula is the structure of lecithin. Lecithin is one of the component of cell membrane or plasma membrane. Hence, we can go with the option second for the question number 9. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 10. Which of the following options correctly identifies the structural formula shown in the figure? So, here A and B which is given. So, here we can see that A which is a fructose, glucose, glucose and glucose, whereas B ribose, deoxyribose, ribose and fructose. When you consider about this structural formula, you can easily identify that where there are 6 carbons you can see in the first figure, whereas in the second there is structure of ribose, hence it is a structure of glucose, hence we can go with the option 3 itself. So, that is why the question number 10 option is 3. Moving on to the next question, question number 11. Refer the given reactions. First one, adenine plus X, that is adenosine. Second, adenosine plus Y, that is adenyllic acid. What does X and Y represent here? If you consider about the first one, that is adenine plus X gives adenosine. Adenosine, guanosine, or if you consider about the cytidine, these are nothing but the nucleosides. Whereas adenyllic acid, guanyllic acid, cytidyllic acid, so these are nothing but the nucleotides. So, if you want to form a nucleoside where nitrogenous base is given, then what should be added there? So, that is the sugar molecule. Okay. Whereas, in case of second one, adenosine is given, the component what should be added there is a phosphate group. So, hence we can see that second one is the right option to form a first one, that is a nucleoside, second one is a nucleotide. So, hence we can see that for the question number 11, correct option is second one. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 12. Select the option that correctly identifies the chemical bond present in the given biomolecules. So, here polysaccharide, in polysaccharide which bond can be seen, that is A in protein and fat and also in case of water. So, it is generally identified that in case of polysaccharide, the bond which is present is glycosidic bond itself, whereas in case of protein there is a presence of peptide bond, in fat ester bond, in water we know that there is a hydrogen bond. As a result, we can see that the correct option is second one for the question number 12, second option. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 13. Read the statement and select the correct option. Statement 1. Hemoglobin is an example for quaternary structure of protein. And the second statement, hemoglobin molecule composed of 4 polypeptide chain, 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains. So, here the options are both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation for the statement 1. Second, there is both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and the statement 2 is not a correct explanation for the statement 1. And the next, statement 1 is correct, statement 2 is incorrect. Fourth one, both the statement 1 and 2 are incorrect. So, here we can see that in statement 1 they said that hemoglobin is an example for quaternary structure of protein, that is true. And second, hemoglobin molecule composed of 4 polypeptide chains, they are 2 alpha and 2 beta chain. So, both statements are correct, and the statement 2 is a correct explanation for the statement 1, hence the answer is first option for the question number 13. The next question, that is question number 14. Match a column 1 with the column 2. So, if you consider about the column 1 where they have given the name of the secondary metabolites, whereas in the column 2 some examples for secondary metabolites were given. So, here the first one, that is A alkaloids, B terpenoids and C essential oils, D drugs, and fourth one, that is E polymeric substances. So, if you match it, the alkaloids are nothing but here the morphine and codeine, which is called as alkaloids. Whereas the terpenoids, if you consider, terpenoids are nothing but this monoterpenes as well as diterpenes. And the next one is essential oils. Essential oils are the lemon oil, or if you consider about the grass oil. Whereas the next one, drugs, the drugs are, so here it is given vinblastine as well as one more is curcumin. And the next one is polymeric substances. The polymeric substances we can consider about rubber, gums, cellulose, etc. So, correct option, that is second option for the question number 14. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 15. So, here what is denoted by X and Y in the given graph? So, here X and Y, if you consider, this is the diagram of the activation energy concept. Here you can see that the X here it is noted, Y means here it is noted. Based on this particular figure, where we have to correctly identify which one is correct. The first one, that is activation energy without enzyme, that is X, whereas Y means activation energy with enzyme they have given. Whereas the second, activation energy with enzyme, and next activation energy without enzyme. Third, substrate concentration with enzyme, substrate concentration without enzyme. Next, substrate concentration without enzyme, substrate concentration with enzyme. Generally, this graph indicates that whenever the enzyme is present, in that case activation energy is less. Whenever the enzyme is absent, activation energy is more. So, based on that we have to identify, hence the correct option for this question is X means activation energy with enzyme. Whereas the next one, that is Y, whatever given, that is activation energy without enzyme. Whenever enzyme is present, activation energy is less. When enzyme is absent, activation energy is high. So, the correct option is second one. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 16. Which of the following statement is not correct regarding chitin? It is a storage polysaccharide. Second, it is a homopolysaccharide. Third, it is a constituent of arthropod exoskeleton and fungal cell wall. Fourth one, it is the second most abundant carbohydrate on earth. So, we know that chitin, which is one of the important homopolysaccharide in case of insects exoskeleton, and also second abundant homopolysaccharide, and also we can see that it is a homopolymer, and here it is a storage polysaccharide. That is wrong, because storage polysaccharide is a starch, not chitin. Hence we can say that the first option, that is it is a storage polysaccharide, which is wrong. So, storage polysaccharide, if you consider, the starch is the storage polysaccharide in case of plant, whereas in case of animals we used to consider glycogen. Hence the first option is wrong. So, answer for the question number 16 is first one. Moving on to the question number 17. In the following, find out the correct and wrong statement. First one, enzymes are composed of one or several polypeptide chains. Second, in holoenzyme, protein of the enzyme is called cofactors and non-protein constituent is called apoenzyme. And the next, prosthetic groups, coenzymes and metal ions are the types of cofactors. Next, prosthetic groups are organic compounds that tightly bound to the apoenzyme. Next, coenzymes are organic compounds and their association of apoenzyme is transient. And the next, NAD and NADP are the examples of prosthetic groups of enzymes. So, here the options are, if you consider the option in which they have given that, in first case 1, 2, 3, 4 are correct, whereas 4 and 1, 2, 3, 6 are correct, 4th and 5th are wrong. Second, the 1, 2, 3, 4 are correct, and again 5th and 6th are wrong. Whereas the third option 1, 2, 4, 5 are correct, 3rd and 6th are wrong. Next, fourth one 1, 3, 4, 5 are correct, 2nd and 6th are wrong. We'll see the answer is 4th one itself. We'll see why the 2nd and 6th one are correct wrong. Second one, in holoenzyme, the protein part is called apoenzyme, non-protein part is called as cofactors. That's why it is wrong. And the next one, 6th one, which is wrong. 6th one, if you consider, NAD and NADP are the examples for coenzymes. That's why we can say that the option 4 is correct for the question number 17. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 18. Holoenzyme is the complete enzyme consisting of an apoenzyme as well as cofactors. Select the option that correctly identifies the nature of apoenzyme and cofactors. So, apoenzyme and cofactor is given. Your apoenzyme protein, cofactor is non-protein part. So, hence your protein part is the apoenzyme, non-protein part is the cofactor. So, correct answer is first option. We go to the question number 19. The vitamin niacin present in, niacin is present in NAD only, second NADP only, third one coenzyme. So, the correct answer is both 1 and 2. We go to the next question, that is question number 20. Peroxidase and catalase are example for the first one coenzymes only, second prosthetic groups only, third cofactor, fourth both 1 and 2. So, the answer is prosthetic groups only. So, here peroxidase and catalase are the example for prosthetic groups. So, the answer is second option. We go to the next question, that is question number 21st. Enzymes are most functional at the temperature range of, the options are first one that is 15 to 25 degrees Celsius, second 20 to 30 degrees Celsius, whereas third that is 30 to 50 degrees Celsius, and fourth 50 to 60 degrees Celsius. The right option is 30 to 50 degrees Celsius. So, enzyme used to show maximum activity at the optimum temperature. So, if you consider about the optimum temperature lies between 30 to 50, that is 45 degrees Celsius, which is a very specific optimum temperature for the enzyme actions. Hence, we can consider the option 3 is the right answer for the question number 21st. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 22. The inhibitor which closely resembles the substrate, its molecular structure, and inhibits the enzyme activity by binding to the active site of the enzyme is called, first option that is feedback inhibitor, second option non-competitive inhibitor, third one competitive inhibitor, fourth one allosteric modulator. So, here the substrate which resembles similar to the structure of the original substance and which used to mask the binding site of the enzyme, which is generally considered as the competitive inhibitor. So, the option 3 is the right answer for the question 22. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 23. The segment of DNA has 120 adenine and 120 cytosine bases. The total number of nucleotides present in the segment is, so the particular calculation which is based on the complementary base pairing what we can see in a DNA structure. So, here 120 plus 120 which becomes 240 into 2 which gives the answer of 480. So, hence the answer for this question 23 is the third option. Move on to the next question, that is question number 24. That is, which of the following statement is incorrect regarding enzymatic activity? The first option, it increases with increase in substrate concentration up to the saturation point. Second option, it is highest at optimum pH value. And third, it initially increases with increase in pH value. And fourth one, it initially increases with increase in temperature and then decreases. The question is to identify the incorrect statement regarding the enzymatic activities. So, hence the first option, it increases with the increasing substrate till certain level, that is true, whereas the second one, it is highest at the optimum pH value. So, enzyme activity will be very high in an optimum pH value. And the next is the third one, it initially decreases with increased pH value. So, that is wrong actually, that is why the third option is the right answer for the question number 24. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 25. Keratin present in hair shows secondary structure known as, option 1 parallel beta sheet, second one antiparallel beta sheet, third option is alpha helix, and fourth option is none of this. So, here the right answer is the first option, that is parallel beta sheet. This keratin is a structural protein which is present in the hair or which is present in the nail as well as in the skin. So, which shows parallel beta sheet structure. Moving on to the next question, question number 26. In a polypeptide, amino acids are linked by peptide bond which is formed when, first option, the amino group, that is NH, of one amino acid react with the amino group of the next amino acid by dehydration. Second option, carboxyl group of one amino acid reacts with the carboxyl group of next amino acid by dehydration. The third option, the carboxyl group of one amino acid reacts with amino group of another amino acid by dehydration. And the fourth option is the amino group of one amino acid react with carboxyl group of next amino acid by dehydration. So the question was to identify the formation of peptide bond. Generally, during the formation of peptide bond in amino acid, the amino group of one amino acid links with the carboxylic group of another amino acid. Hence, we can go with the option 3. So, where the carboxyl group of one amino acid reacts with the amino group of another amino acid by dehydration, that is removal of H2O, that is water. So, hence the right answer for the question number 26 is third option. We go to the next question, that is question number 27. Read the given statement. First one, fructose is the sweetest sugar, and the second, glycine is the simplest amino acid. Third, lactose is a disaccharide composed of one molecule each of glucose and galactose. And the fourth one is cellulose is an unbranched chain of glucose molecule linked by beta 1 to 4 glycosidic bond. Which of the given statements are correct? So, when we go through all these 4 statements, we can easily identify that all the 4 statements are correct, and the answer is all are correct, option 4. What is the next question? That is question number 28. In a polysaccharide chain, the right end is called the dash, that is P, and the left end is called the dash, that is Q. Identify P and Q. So, your options are, first option, that is P is non-reducing end and Q is reducing end, and the second option, P is non-reducing end and Q is reducing end, whereas C is P is reducing end and Q is non-reducing, and the fourth option, P is reducing end, Q is non-reducing end. So, generally when you consider about the structure of polysaccharide chain, we can see that the region of P, that is which lies in a right side, right end, which has a reducing end, and the region which lies to the left end which has the non-reducing end. Hence, we can go with the option, that is 3 for the question number 28. Option 3 is the right answer. Moving on to the next question, that is question number 29. Match the following type of questions. So, in column 1, the protein names were given, and the column 2, the functions of the proteins were given. Which under column 1, there are options like collagen, trypsin, insulin, antibody and receptor. In column 2, the functions like a sensory reception, a fight infectious agent, hormone, enzyme and intercellular ground substance. So, here when we consider about the first one, that is collagen. Collagen is intercellular ground substance. So, hence A which matches with the fifth one, whereas next to trypsin. So, trypsin is an enzyme that is matches with the fourth one. Next, insulin, insulin matches with the third one, that is hormone, whereas antibody, for antibody it fights with infections, that is second option. And next is receptor, that is sensory reception, first option, and the correct answer for this particular question is the fourth option. For A 5 and B 4, whereas for C third and D second, and for E first option. Moving to the next question, that is question number 30. The percentage of the water, proteins, carbohydrates, lipids, nucleic acids and ions in total cellular mass is option 1, water 70 to 90, protein 10 to 15, carbohydrates 2, lipids 3, nucleic acids 5 to 7, ions 1. And second option, water 70 to 90, proteins 10 to 15, carbohydrates 3, lipids 3, nucleic acids 5 to 7, ions 1. Third option, water 70 to 90, proteins 10 to 15, carbohydrates 3, lipids 5 to 7, nucleic acids 2 and ions 1. Fourth option, water 70 to 90, proteins 10 to 15, carbohydrates 3, lipids 1, nucleic acids 5 to 7 and ions 2. So, you have to identify the percentage of water, protein and carbohydrates, lipids, nucleic acids and ions in a total cellular mass. So, the right answer for this question is the second option, where we know that water will be in a higher amount in each cell if you consider. So, it is 70 to 90. Next comes the protein 10 to 15 and after that comes carbohydrate 3, lipids 2, nucleic acid 5 to 7, whereas ions 1. So, hence right answer is second option. All the best to dear all students.